for the most part of that game. Bastet can't really peel very well. Now, Bastet, to be fair, has a slow, which is what the peel was from Hunbats in that situation, but CaptainTwig's mindset probably isn't there because the rest of his kit is so anti-peel, whereas Hunbat still has that ultimate if he really needs it to turn that around when necessary. I just think SK played to a standard that I think they can hold themselves to throughout the rest of the split.
Into picks and bans we go then, and with SK winning that time, they get choice to side and choose second pick here. Obviously, game 1, picks and bans. Game 2, picks and bans. Game 3, I guess it's going to go the same way. It's Guan and Afro from SK, and Giannis and Hum for Obey.
It has been a lot of X-Ball, but could be the Raw, and that is what they go for. And I like this because Lawbster didn't find the victory, obviously, in game 1, but played pretty well on the Raw anyways. Gibalanque was what they banned last time, they being Obey Alliance in that first pick slot. Leaving it open here, you're kind of making a choice. But I feel like Obey understand that Funball is going to do Funball stuff regardless. Funball, I think his best value to this SK team is through the confidence in his shot calls. I mean, we saw the snuck away Fire Giant in game 1. That is a patented Funball call. In game 2, another snuck Fire Giant basically by SK. And I think that Funball is not impacting the game as much with his picks, and they're still waiting to get to that point. He's had a couple breakout games, but hasn't been the guy. Lobster has been the guy a lot of the time for SK in Season 5. Make Funball prove it to you and take Lobster off the comfort pick.
Well, Gibalanque is going to be a nice, easy pickup for him there. Very influential with the Darkest of Nights, and in the late game, something Funballer will shine on. Athena Circuit, though, out from Obey. Circuit slipping through and picked up early. SK going to go with the Discordia here. So a couple of focuses in a weird way towards Prime. Obviously with Ra being banned as well, and now Discordia. He's going to have to go deeper in the God Pool. Last time we saw that, it was a Zeus in game 1.
Yeah, it could be, again, though I doubt it. I think this could be shaping up to be a Raijin game if that isn't banned away. Even the Poseidon seems a little bit tempting right here. Raijin's just safe, brings early game clear, can trade efficiently with Discordia.
I thought there was something in the picks that you saw where Raijin would.
No, I just think Raijin's really good. I just think Raijin is like very, very good right now.
Mercury Terra, Odin's still available. Sobek banned out by SK. It's back to SK for their final ban here. And it will be the Tough. So deeper in the God Pool then once more for PrettyPriMe.
Could be the drum, or you can just wait it out. Pick your solo laner here. You understand that's probably going to be Achilles in the solo lane, but maybe not. Cerberus will be the selection, and this could be for the solo lane or the support role. iRaffer played it earlier in support, but that was with a Sobek instead of an Athena. Xaliea might want that Cerberus instead of the Athena in the solo lane.
HalfDevil going to go for a bit of sleepy time here against Obey. Pretty good against Artemis, not bad against Circuit either. Specifically, Assassins is very strong too. Hunbat once more for Faeles, and that rounds out their composition and kind of gives the game away about where that Achilles might have been going.
I think it's the right call. Ducky played very well on that in game 2. The Achilles was in jungle game 1, and it didn't go particularly well. Nuwa, the selection
Prime's
here.
Really just like showing off his God Pool now.
Man, I am not. I wasn't a fan of Nuwa when she was everywhere at the beginning of Season 5 during the spring split. I don't think I'm a fan of her now either. I think SK's draft has good pressure overall. This Circuit pick is the end-all be-all to me over here for Obey. If CaptainTwig can get off to a good lead, exert the pressure in multiple lanes, get Nuwa or this Artemis or this Cerberus ahead, Obey's got a good chance. But with Funball, with Faeles playing the way that he did in game 2, I think I'm leaning SK.
Really? So it's a jungle matchup, this one?
Yeah, I think it really is. Entirely dependent on the jungle here.
Well, let's find out which jungler will reign supreme today. Let's get it over to F-Dot and Taco.
Every SK game is a jungle game. When Faeles shows up, they win. The problem is,
can he do it again?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Danny. Faeles and I are great friends, but just haven't shown up this split or the last split or the split before or the split before that. And a lot of that was we were watching this player sort of grow into himself, and I think a lot of people were asking, look, has it been enough time? But I have seen that consistency pick up here towards the summer.
I want to chalk it up to growing pains, but there are moments where you can tell that Faeles is definitely a player that has the potential to compete with the top end of, and I mean top end as in those who are publicly for speed. I'm looking at, your Adaptings and CaptainTwig, those guys who have kind of like earned their stars and stripes, and now we see Faeles kind of trying to do the same thing here. This could be a very real set to make a statement for SK. And I wouldn't even call it so much them playing the spoiler card as so much as I would them finally playing into the team that I think a lot of us were expecting them to be when they first announced this roster.
Funball Lawbster. You know, when you see these guys, you expect greatness. Is SK good enough to find the victory? That's the question we ask y'all personally in Mixer, and that's the question we're asking ourselves. Let's get right into it. I don't want to wait another moment. Faeles here on the hunt, bats. Focal point. I heard the desk talking, and they said, you know, if CaptainTwig can get off to a this, that, or a third. I don't care. This is all about Faeles to me. Regardless of what CaptainTwig does, if Faeles can repeat the performance he had in game number 2, SK win. It's that black and white for me. And when you look at the composition across the board, Taco, all of these characters can definitely be crushed by the Fear No Evil.
It's like actual global presence from iRaffer being met. The clash between Funballer's ultimate and iRaffer's rotational ability is going to be interesting, especially when you combine PrettyPrime's global aspect too with that new ultimate. A lot of different ways for Obey to really approach SK in terms of how they want to handle the team fight that I don't think they had the same options available to them in game number 2.
We've spoken a lot about SK's lack of performance and, you know, how their win-loss record has gone. But I want to remind folks at home, week number 1 here, they coulda, shoulda, woulda found a victory. And this wasn't where they dropped the ball. Ducky, his whole town had a power outage, right? So they had a substitute and things went south. This SK Gaming team has been making the steps forward. Frankly, all of our lower-end Pro League teams have been stepping forward, which has been really nice. And I think SK is kind of in the back line there.
Speaking of stepping forward, that's exactly what Obey Alliance are trying to do right now up against SK. They want this red buff, or at least the invade, maybe even a kill. Faeles already getting pretty low here, and that's going to be Twig just death baiting straight across from him.
Yeah, so Twig on the back end. And meanwhile, PrettyPrime taking some big poke, going to abuse the beads, but there's the kill for Lawbster. First blood goes to SK Gaming.
Absolutely beautiful gameplay there. Twig just went way too far on his own accord. Faeles still barely hanging on to life, but he didn't have creep aggro.
No minions. Faeles walks away nice and easy. Well, 10% more of you guys think that SK are going to take it. It's still 28%, but a whole 10% more.
Who's reconsidering, though, after seeing that first blood happen? That's on to Lawbster. Discordia is a prime candidate for securing. Speaking of which, CaptainTwig just couldn't let that red buff go.
Cheeky
was able to steal it away from Lawbster, and hurts just a little bit to see. That's life RNG.
Yeah, just ouch. But no big deal. SK Gaming still have their first blood lead, and it's very important that Faeles keeps this one going. He didn't receive the golds for it. His mid laner did, which isn't a bad thing. Getting a Discordia ahead never made anybody too upset.
Especially now when that Discordia is Lawbster.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, iRaffer hovering around this mid-end section was maybe looking to play some aggressively against HalfDevil and Funballer, but thinks better of it, seeing that the waves are approaching. No real reason for him to pull the creep aggro and get everything out of position, making it more difficult for Ataraxia to clear.
An invade on the blue side, going to be good again. These are the moves that we need to see Faeles make to find an SK win.
I just want to see Ducky and Faeles run it back. That's all that this is about, for my mind, at least. I think that's exactly what SK were looking for. We had a lot of success with this Humbots Achilles combination. Let's try and run it back, and it's not like Ataraxia is playing the most mobile god in the world. He's got to depend on his teammates to get him out of danger.
Very true. Very true. Looking at the other players on SK Gaming, Funball has always loved the Xaliea. He is Xaliea. HalfDevil has always loved the Kumbhakarna, going back to before he took his hiatus. So these are very much comfort picks here for SK Gaming.
This Kumbhakarna pick, though, is probably the only one that strikes me a little bit odd here. And I say that simply because the follow-up damage is a little bit janky.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to execute. You're not going to really get that pairing off of the Xaliea at least, so kills in the dual lane, you're mostly looking to just ult somebody to separate them from everyone else. And I think it will be effective in terms of swaying CaptainTwig as to whether or not he can commit to a kill.
And I love Kumba against Circuit. Being able to interrupt Deathbane is tough, but is devastating when it happens. And if Deathbane comes through and HalfDevil hits that Mighty Yawn, that can really shut down the Circuit all in. So I do like this choice here for the support.
Actually, the more it breaks down, SK's draft overall has a large amount of interrupt, not even factoring in the Kumakarna. If you got the root from the Strife, even the madness that it can create if you catch more than one member in it.
Which we saw earlier.
Funballer's Darkest Night, slows from the Poison Dart. Faeles got a slow on his jump. Neat little ways that they can combine their kits together. So it's not even just like the large picture.
Oh.
Speaking of CC, there's a slow being applied onto CaptainTwig right now. We'll be able to ambush away, but it's still going to force that Defender of Olympus from iRaffer.
And now it's a 4-on-3. CaptainTwig trying to look for something over the wall. Heavy commit to this side lane, wanting to make sure that Obey do not get their blue buff.
I love it because it's not like there's anybody left over to actually take the Gold Fury.
Yep.
There's no punish for SK committing this heavily towards a blue buff so early on. This is prior to the 10-minute mark, folks. So that means teams have these small openings to work their way into their opponent's jungle and try to develop the leads from there early on.
Funballer has eyes on Ataraxia, and obviously early on, like you mentioned, so not going to have the ability to solo the Gold Fury. Faeles taunted. Jump away easy.
The beads hold, though, the discipline, that's something that you expect to see from players at competitive levels. Faeles analyzes the situation and in a matter of seconds says, iRaffer can't possibly kill me, or more specifically, Obey
Nobody
can't kill me off of this.
And I like that play because, again, Faeles' first name is Danny, and I call him Danny Phantom because half the game, he's like a ghost. He's not even there. It's really nice to see him stepping up and making these plays. And it all comes together here where small things like that, I don't think Faeles has the confidence or the wherewithal to, I will say confidence and not the wherewithal. I've never doubted Faeles' ability to play, to think about the game at a high level. It's just about the execution. So I don't doubt that he has the wherewithal not to use those beats, but the confidence level, I think, has plagued this player for a long time. And when he's able to see himself succeed and his team therein, I think it bodes really well for him.
I think he mostly struggled with confidence back when he was first trying to break into a competitive scene. I'm talking the old school days where like EGL was everything in Europe. And even now, I still think that EGL plays a pretty important part for some of the guys over in Europe that like to participate. And Faeles has just been an up-and-coming player where he's had segments of being considered a top-end jungler by competitive players, and then there's also the moments where they're like, okay, maybe this isn't the guy that we want to team with. And it's that back and forth that can cause a player to kind of question their own ability. I think that we saw a little bit of that and reflected in Faeles' gameplay for a time, but now he's really started to step away from it. I think that also just comes as a result of being on a team with like Lawbster and Funballer and those guys helping him through it. Speaking of which, now he's trying to get some help from his team to get this kill onto iRaffer.
And iRaffer's going to get hit with the ultimate. HalfDevil's going to belly bump him as well. Sprint is popped.
He thought about it.
HalfDevil thought about chasing it down. Bad idea from the support player who likely will fall here. CaptainTwig very low though, so Lawbster might be able to protect his support, but with the show up of the team, Obey Alliance find themselves on the board. Lawbster dancing in the cooldown cloud. Tossed to the right and drugged down. Xaliea winds up with the follow-up kill. HalfDevil gets a little bit too excited. Classic HalfDevil. And winds up dying and turning his mid laner in. That's a really rough play there for HalfDevil.
That is so unfortunate for Lawbster, too, because Lawbster did not want to stick around. He was already leaving, and then HalfDevil pops the sprint, so for a second you think, maybe this is okay. iRaffer's long gone. There's no way you're going to catch up to him. Even if he'd invested the epic uppercut to close the gap a little bit further, he still wouldn't have any cooldowns to do anything else with it. In the end, just amounts to HalfDevil getting a little trapped up in, I think, some amateur scene play style.
Yeah, just excitable play there, right there. And it's going to shorten the lead, but still keep SK Gaming with that first blood up intact.
As long as they avoid those tunnel vision chases down the line, they should be okay. But right now, it's not anywhere near as problematic because they did have a slight lead to work with.
Well, this is the moment of the set, right? Where, I mean, this is Obey Alliance, right? And SK Gaming, Lawbster a little bit less so than the other 4, are sitting there like, oh my God, we're about to do it. We're about to do it. We're a team that has struggled to find victories against anybody. And here we are against a world champion support player and 4 players in their own right that are fantastic at what they do. Oh my God, we're going to do it. And that's what that HalfDevil play was. Lawbster needs to, and I'm specifically saying Lawbster needs to say, calm down, and continue to play the way we've been playing, and then they'll be fine.
I think the calm down came after HalfDevil popped a sprint because he immediately turns around and tries to uppercut away. Speaking of which, Xaliea might not be able to escape from this wombo combo out of HalfDevil and Faeles. No, instead he's going to grab them up, punish them with a stun off the paralyzing spit. Not enough, though. Ducky still gets credit for it off of the Fatal Strike, but Faeles ends up falling in the process.
CaptainTwig finds him with the poison. iRaffer takes care of his direct opposition. HalfDevil just a little bit too low. Ducky still willing to fight, and CaptainTwig still willing to farm. Ducky going to take care of PrettyPriMe. iRaffer in trouble now. Ducky surrounding him. iRaffer able to find the preemptive strike on the right-hand side, but Ducky and Lob still not ready to let this one go. iRaffer stuck under the tower, stunned and done. Lawbster puts him in the oven. Good play there from the mid lane mage.
Beautiful job by SK to recover what looked like a rather unfortunate scenario.
Yeah.
And it was really well played by Xaliea, if I'm being honest. Grabbing 3 members inside of that Stingent Torment and then connecting the paralyzing spell to 2 of them to burst them down to that half health threshold is the only reason why Obey didn't end up wiping there in that side of the map.
SK Gaming stepping up this week. And like I said, last week just barely missing the victory. I think we got the preamble to today's thesis statement. SK Gaming trying to put that one in ink. As they've made these plays, they've made these adjustments. The calls have been good. The itemization has been good. The kills have been good. I mean, everything from SK has been really strong today, Taco.
I want to draw back to that point you just brought up, though, and I'm not sure I'm going to have a chance to, based off of how CaptainTwig is looking over at Ducky. They know they're there. They both know the other is there. It's just who's going to jump first.
No jump just yet. CaptainTwig going in his own jungle. HalfDevil getting chunked out by PrettyPriMe. Looks like CaptainTwig still playing with this area for a while. Jumping on top of Lawbster. There's the Fear No Evil on top of everything. The Apple of Discordia. And Lawbster again finds the kill. Xaliea being zoned out by Ducky. And that was, again, a wonderful play. That's classic Lawbster. Jump on me. And he's got the teammates in the wings. Another one at kill number 3. For Lawbster. Meanwhile, in the mid lane again, Xaliea being chased down, not in execute threshold. Ducky still able to get the kill underneath the tower. SK Gaming on a tear. HalfDevil taunted in. That might be trouble. Able to escape for the moment.
And there's the sprint, epic uppercut to escape. Really well played by SK in the mid lane. I loved it. The moment it started off, Lawbster doesn't panic, holds that golden apple to make sure he can whack CaptainTwig with it right in the face, even through the purification beads. As soon as that wears off, Cripple can still play a part, and it was just the burst damage. Even if you avoid that cripple, you're not getting away from that damage.
Not whatsoever. Not going to be the target whatsoever. SK Gaming find themselves above that team fight. 2,000 gold in the league. Taco, before you were you wanted to bring up a point in that mid lane.
Oh, it was essentially something that, from my time of having talked to a lot of pros back in the day, and they would always mention it's very easy to get lost in the set, in that you start to really think about, oh my God, what's it going to be like when we win? Everybody's going to be happy. We're all going to be cheering, all that good stuff. But you're still playing the game. Your mind just kind of autopilots, and I think more experienced players who have been through the ringer know better than to get absorbed by it, but some of the less experienced teams with upsetting victories don't necessarily have that same level of discipline yet.
And I specifically said Lawbster. Funball's an excitable guy, a veteran in his own right. Funball's an excitable guy, but Lawbster is just the most stoic person I know.
Very calm and collected.
And by no stretch of the imagination does that mean boring. He's just always in control. HalfDevil and Ducky here, trying to control this situation. Lawbster playing it safe outside of the jungle. And so Obey Alliance will not take the bait. Funball's ultimate, I think, dissuaded them. I think that time the Darkest of Nights actually worked against SK Gaming because they were trying to bait Obey into a scenario, and Funball pulled the trigger so early that Obey said, "We're not going to go in flying blind."
You also have to wonder, though, if Obey are maybe thinking about whether or not they should be accepting some of these challenges, because if you forfeit too much of the map, then your opposition starts to walk all over you, and that's also not a situation that Obey want to find themselves in. Gold Fury still up for grabs between these two teams. The first one hasn't gone down yet, and at the 15-minute mark, this is right when the dance starts to break out.
With Obey in mind, talking about them letting things go or not, iRaffer going to be caught up in the Assassin, the Mage, the Warrior, the Guardian, Lawbster. Lucky number 7 for the team. 6 of them have had his stamp of approval. Gold Fury down to about 1/3 of HP. CaptainTwig blinks on the back line, finds a zigzag onto 2. Lawbster in trouble. He's going to go fall down unless the Aegis is good enough, and it won't be, but Funball makes damage as well. 2 for 2 so far. HalfDevil in the passive. Funball trying to take care of things. He won't be able to. Ataraxia with the double kill. Funball controlled. PrettyPriMe watches as Ataraxia finishes his triple kill, and Obey will open the door to a Gold Fury of their own. And what I was about to say, Taco, sorry to cut you off, right before they pulled the Gold Fury, I said, Obey can play reactive because they have still earned, both of these teams have earned the reputation that they are given, and Obey can sort of wait for SK to make a mistake. And just like my voice, the team fight cracked, and Obey Alliance took the victory there and get the gold.
I feel like that's all PrettyPriMe, because PrettyPriMe held the blast off of those new Clay minions. If he doesn't get the perfect shiny metal and eliminate Funballer's HP, I think Funballer gets a quadra kill there. Counting the kill that he just picked up. It was a very easy 3-man lineup. He's swinging with the branching bola activated also. That's a lot of bonus power being applied. And I'm sure, taking a look at the player damage, he's got quite a few stacks inside of that passive already.
30
if not
power?
Fully stacked, possibly, also, because he does get 1. I believe kills still count towards the stacks, too.
Right now, I think he's got at least 30 power. 35, you know, that is, that's an item. That's basically an item. So, Funball certainly swinging. Got to watch out there. Obey certainly pinging. That's iRaffer's mouse. All the random pings are iRaffer's mouse. We'll figure that one out sooner or later. Right side seems to be the focus here, Taco. And as we approach 18 minutes, 8 all. CaptainTwig in some trouble, finding a way out there.
Teleport? Not yet. They just want the Pyromancer. Nice job making sure that CaptainTwig has to attend to his wounds. Doesn't want to get caught out there with only Xaliea to back him up. I think even though Xaliea is level 15 Cerberus, there's still only so much he can do in terms of a 2v5 situation.
And yeah. I was going to ask you, what can you do in a 2v5 situation, but I think the answer is...
You can pick them up. I don't think any of them would use their relics.
I think the answer is cross your fingers, pray to a deity, call your mom, right? There's really not much to do in that scenario, so has to back up. Obey Alliance right now have tied the game up after SK had a little bit of a lead. Mid lane is going to be the focus. Ataraxia in some trouble. Here's the ultimate coming out of the Monkey Man, but the Aegis is good enough. Ataraxia is a little bit better and takes Faeles down for the count. Backside, Funball trying to wrap around onto CaptainTwig, but it's too late. CaptainTwig already took care of the mid lane. Ducky's low. iRaffer finds the taunt, but it's too late, and the tier 1 tower will fall down.
This burst is pretty intense from Obey, and the crits out of Ataraxia. He went for the 3rd item rage, not even hesitating for a moment here, wanting to utilize this Artemis passive as much as possible. Rage is the best way to do it. You want consistent crit, Artemis can bring you it.
PrettyPriMe here on the Nuwa. Been very successful. Very, very successful here in this game on the Nuwa. 1, 2, and 9. And I like this response to the Hun Bats. So PrettyPriMe on the Nuwa. Nuwa's actually a character that could really get killed by Hun Bats if she doesn't play it right. But the ability to negate Fear No Evil is really big. The second you even see Faeles even think about going to the back line, right to the sky she goes. And that couple of seconds can be a really big deal. PrettyPriMe flickering himself out of the team fight is enough to disrupt SK's entire plan.
Well, that's the hard part, though, is Faeles having to show up and give map presence to let Obey know, hey, you can't come into this territory of ours. But at the same time, he still needs to pose an unpredictable threat as to when he's going to actually choose to blink in and try to find PrettyPriMe on the back end, because that's where the success came in Game 2, was focusing out PrettyPriMe, focusing out Ataraxia, not letting either of them survive. Both of them have the CC immune ultimates now, and I think that is the main difference between Game 2 and 3 here.
I agree.
Obey were fully expecting SK, once they saw the Achilles Humbats, yet again, that they could just go for the CC immune ults and probably make it through.
Obey looking for the right side siege. Here comes iRaffer as well. Ping coming out of the tier 2 tower. I think SK wanted to defend.
For what it's worth, though, I still love SK's draft. I'm just saying, that draft's nutty.
Certainly looks good. HalfDevil doesn't look so good. Half HP right now. And Faeles with 0. 5 on 4 so far. Obey Alliance looking to trudge forward. That's exactly what they'll do. Xaliea zoning. Ducky, not going to be a good look. He's actually going to get stunned here. Great stun from Xaliea. What a play.
Ataraxia and PrettyPriMe are just dealing every single amount of damage possible, and it's all because of Xaliea tanking everything for them. This is exactly what you want. It's the dream situation as an Artemis to just free cast for your entire time period that you're alive.
And again, the Hunter finds himself very close to the top of the damage charts. Game number 2 was doing that with the Neath. And then here in game number 3, trying it on the Artemis.
We count him as number 1. PrettyPriMe doesn't get a part in this. He might as well be removed from the player damage section because he's playing Nuwa, and that's unfair. No one's keeping up with the Nuwa on player damage.
I don't see an asterisk. I just see 14,253 versus 1111117.
There's got to be something. There's some category that Ataraxia is winning in, right? Is that not a possibility?
I don't think so. Wards placed. Can we see wards placed, please?
Time spent dead. Ataraxia's got him beat. He hasn't died yet.
Wards placed, still going the way of PrettyPriMe, just saying. Time spent dead.
What about Golden Hand?
Still goes the way of PrettyPriMe.
Ataraxia is catching L's back to back. That's
you know
all
what
I can
it
say.
is? He's too passive.
Yeah.
That's twice. If I say it a third time, Nate's going to be here in the studio.
I feel like he's already waiting as soon as his game ends to hit send tweet. You know, and you just like sit there and you got something really, really good to say.
He's in the fountain tweeting his draft. We don't allow the players to tweet during their games, but I'm sure he's got a whole draft folder. Just at SmitePro, at F. How dare you call me? That's not what he sounds like at all. He sounds like Hindu Man.
God, that was worse than my vote impression. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it wasn't.
That was pretty bad, too.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
It was. That's like the voice I make when, I don't even know, when I'm like mocking Maddie.
When you're getting sniped.
That too. When I'm writing down people whose names that have like spam taunted me in game, that's the voice I picture in my head when I break out the Tolly notebook.
Oh boy. Having some fun here, folks, as we wait for Obey to regroup and look for another push. 23-41. Relatively early to see teams looking for these kind of pushes. But Obey Alliance have confirmed an 11,000 gold lead.
It really doesn't feel as early as it is. Speaking of which, Lawbster might not even get a chance to see how it ends up because he's already getting targeted. Last breath, not even going to be needed. Ataraxia takes him out with the autos, and this mid Phoenix all up for grabs
Double
by Obey.
taunt. Wonderful job there from iRaffer. Obey Alliance will be able to cut down this Phoenix. Now HalfDevil finally joining the party. He's going to go down as well. Ducky in trouble. The chase is on. Ataraxia on the backside. HalfDevil goes down. Ducky does as well. Beautiful play from PrettyPriMe.
And Funballer doing everything in his power to try and hold the base standing strong. Both another wave of fire creeps coming in from the right-hand side. This could be Obey's opportunity to end it all, but they want to play it safe. Fire Giant is on the board. I just realized that was a siege without the Fire Giant.
Yeah, Fire Giant had fizzled a little bit earlier than that. I would have went for the end, but that's why I'm not a Pro League player. Obey Alliance playing this one safely, and I respect that. I do think that's the call. Funball, right now, with his build and his passive, could definitely have taken 1 or 2 players with him.
I think that call only happens to retreat because they're concerned about Funballer pulling a wowie and killing everyone.
You call it a wowie, I call it a Vaporish Coast, whatever you want to do there. But Funballer...
That's only with Uller.
I still give it up for the Penta Kid. You guys gotta tune in.
Fair enough. That was impressive stuff.
You guys gotta tune in for the Console League. If you're still not tuning in for the Console League, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's the league has come a long way since its inception. We've seen a number of players and teams turn up, and players like Paul, players like Mollusk. These are guys that played in the players like Keegs, mate, on LG. These are guys that started over there in the Console League. SK Gaming coming out of their base, trying to be the initiators. I love this choice here, Taco. Raffer gonna get blowed up. And Ducky makes this a 5-on-4. That's the right call. If you sit there and wait for the opponent to come to you, well, obviously they're gonna have the upper hand. SK Gaming rise from their grave and become the altered beast that Obey really, really don't want to see.
But Obey don't seem all that swayed by it. They're still looking to push down this right-hand side, or excuse me, left-hand technically, which choose you which way you want to look at the map. But the right-hand Phoenix has respawn for SK. That's going to be a really important one to keep track of, except Ducky still left over there, meaning that there's only 2 members to really play defense now. The rest of SK finally starting to trickle in, looking for the kill onto Ataraxia.
HalfDevil on the back line. Xaliea going to be assaulted by Funball.
It's not over just yet. PrettyPriMe all the way back. CaptainTwig, though, managing to find Lawbster on the front end all by himself. Twig has done it time and time again.
That said, Twig goes down, as does Lawbster. It's a 1-for-1 so far. 27 exactly on the clock. Obey Alliance have done a great job at running this game, excuse me. But SK Gaming have successfully done the draw out. They're down about 2/3 of an item, which is a decent amount, I suppose. But I think this is, my point is, folks, that this is absolutely a game that anyone can win. Obey Alliance right now have the upper hand very slightly. They have a Guardian lead with respect to levels. Actually, the 3 levels in the jungle and the mid actually do mean a lot. So Obey Alliance have a bigger lead than I previously let on. But by no stretch of the imagination is SK Gaming completely out of this. We can still totally see the comeback story.
There's moments, even when they got that pick onto Raffer, it was promising, simply because, sure, Raffer's got the Defender of Olympus and he can ult back in, but you're still going to have to try and siege without him.
Yeah.
And in that 30 seconds that Raffer's off the board, that means another pick could possibly take place, and you just keep stacking those respawn timers one by one until eventually you've recovered your base, and it's only the left side Phoenix missing now. SK have managed to stay in this one long enough that their right-hand Phoenix could regen a decent amount. Now they're working on their mid one, and they're probably going to look to take another engagement outside of their base, unless they want to find on the right-hand side underneath that strengthened Phoenix.
Raffer with the patented last item, Gauntlet of Thieves. There's the ultimate on the back line coming out from the Party Monkey, but a bigger ultimate coming out from Xaliea is going to toss 2 separate SK Gaming players on the back, one of which is HalfDevil, who dies to the 3-headed doggo himself. Half HP on the Phoenix so far. Ducky looking for the retreat. Lawbster as well. Obey Alliance, take care of the bird. Shift over to the mid lane. This one should go down nice and easy. All about the Titan.
This is where Obey look to seal the deal here. Lawbster won't be alive for much longer. CaptainTwig looking to get the final blow, but it's going to be Xaliea instead, taking him out with a paralyzing spit. Ducky now under fire, getting assaulted by fire creeps, getting assaulted by Obey, and even more importantly, the Athena spam thoughts from iRaffer.
There's one kill for Ataraxia. Funball answers back before the Titan goes down, but it does go down. SK Gaming, despite their best efforts, wind up a little bit short, and Obey Alliance take the victory.
I respect the decision-making towards the end. It didn't feel panicked. It didn't feel rushed. It just felt like Obey played a little bit of better Smite here in Game 3. Their draft ended up overruling that of SK's, and just really well played to the guys.
Exactly. SK Gaming really brought their A game, and this was one that Obey had to earn completely, and earn it they did. They looked fantastic. Obey looked better than they have recently, and I think that's a really big point, because don't forget, Obey was part of that support trade, Obey and Energy, trading out of Milsey and iRaffer, and Milsey and Energy have been more successful up until this point. But looking at that gameplay, I think Obey are starting to tie things together.
It's still too soon to tell, but if we were discussing a top 3 possibility being switched up in Europe, I think that Obey are making themselves strong contenders for the spot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Certainly something that the top-end teams have to start thinking about. What you guys can think about at home. Who is the most valuable player in this game? We ask you guys in Mixer Chat. I got nothing.
I think that everybody played really well. You know what? I will give it to Twig for consistently pinpointing Lawbster every single time. He was not letting Lawbster survive.
That's true. I would give it to the passive hunter Ataraxia because I leave soon and he can't hunt me down. Break it down, Desk.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Tom. And Taco on the desk with me once again is Aggro to the end of the day. And talking about the end of the day, this European day has been very interesting. Basically for the bottom half of the SPL more than anything else, because they took on some of the better teams and found victories that you wouldn't have expected.
It's true. I mean, if you would have looked at, if you look at the overall result of today and you say, okay, Dignitas won and Obey won. Oh, expected. Yeah, cool. Moving on. That really doesn't tell the whole story. I mean, Mouse Sports had the set against Dignitas and let it slip through their fingers. SK looks like a real team against Obey Alliance. They just weren't good enough to beat Obey Alliance. And I think that's not a bad spot for SK to be in. It's clear that they've still got stuff to work on, and Obey Alliance still clearly has stuff to work on their own right. But Obey is playing at a higher level right now, and that isn't a shot at SK or anything like that. Sometimes that's just what you need to learn against a team like Obey Alliance.
Well, the Crit Monkey Artemis will get the MVP, also known as Ataraxia. This game, as you'd expect, Artemis just does a lot of things now that people are allowing it to get away with a little bit more. Tusky's useful. The traps are coming out of nowhere. People are maxing it first, I've seen today.
Well, I don't know about all that nonsense.
I saw someone max trap today.
Yeah, that was what? Global Series? I don't know if that was the right call in that game in particular. But either way, Artemis is a great late-game character, and that's where this whole draft kind of came together for Obey, was in that late game. I mean, they were getting dominated through the first half of the game, specifically on the right side of the map around where Ducky was. Ducky was dominant in this game, and he had a great series, in particular games 2 and 3. I thought he was incredible on the Achilles. It just ended up being that in the late game, he had to deal with Nuwa and an Artemis, and that's very difficult for someone like Achilles to really deal with. Ataraxia was in the right spots consistently. That triple kill by Gold Fury is really what turned the game in Obey's favor.
Well, it's only Tuesday today, and that was the first day of Europe, but the rest of the week we've still got things to look forward to. Moving into tomorrow, it's Wednesday, it's all North America.
Space Station versus Luminosity, and then Trifecta versus Splice. Can't wait for that Trifecta versus Splice matchup. That's going to really let us know who the top teams that are up and coming in North America are going to be, because those are two teams that I think are vying to break into that top half of NA.
And after today, too, this is a look at the standings in North America and Europe. Obey, 2 wins under their belt, Aggro.
And how many losses?
0.
Does that make them undefeated?
Absolutely undefeated, alongside Splice and Trifecta from North America, which is important.
Space Station as well.
Too.
Space Station is undefeated
and
as well.
Space Station as well. So only one team in Europe still undefeated, which is Obey. Obviously, opposition of Energy and SK so far, but a lot of big teams still to play.
Oh, they've got a tough schedule, but who doesn't have a tough schedule in Europe, man? It's all hard to play against in Europe right now with how high of a level everyone is really hitting. I mean, Dignitas stumbled a little bit today, but I expect they'll return to form moving forward, or maybe Mouse Sports is really that good. We'll have to find out.
Well, if you just tuned into the SPL for the first time, or you need to know more about how these things are going to work throughout the league, this is the summer schedule. Monday, obviously, is already gone. Tuesday, also gone. But Wednesdays, we're on to next. We get to see Latin America in the morning, followed by some minor league action from North America.
And that's basically the format that you can expect throughout the week. 11 a.m., you'll see either console series if it's a Monday, or on Tuesday through Friday, it'll be that global series. Then minor league starts around 1 o'clock for each of those days, except, again, for Monday. And then SPL hard start at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
And you'll see that every single Monday to Friday. Weekends, we rebroadcast the SPL as well, so keep an eye out for that. If you don't catch the games during the week, you can also tune in the rest of the time. Here's a little look at how the year is planned out, though, because obviously we had a couple of changes over the years and how things have worked. And as you can see, the World Championships has been moved forward a little bit earlier in time, but also a placement round for the World Championship too.
That's right. And November 5th through the 10th will be that placement round with the Smite World Championship at DreamHack Atlanta coming up 16th through the 18th. But that Summerland coming up sooner rather than later, only about a month and a half away.
It is. That Summerland is on its way. But one thing to note is the World Championships. You want to get tickets for that. Get them as early as possible. hi-rezexpo.com to pick those up between November 16th and 18th. Aggro will be along. I know Finch was talking the other day.
I know. Can you the nerve of that guy. I mean, come on.
We might bring you along. Yeah.
We might bring Finch along if he's lucky. Like, come on.
Listen to him. So confident. I'm not going to bring either of them along. Me and Tom will do the whole thing.
You just told me.
I just wanted to lure you into feeling like you were coming. That's all.
Look, Hindu Man might be the savage, but he's not going to be that savage to you in person. He'll be nice, usually.
You guys can make a vote. If you want to vote in Mixer Chat now whether Aggro and Finch come to the World Championships, do so. For now,
I'm going to be
however,
there. I'll show up.
You going to buy a ticket?
Yeah, I'll buy a ticket.
All right, cool. That goes
They're on sale right now on hi-rezexpo.com.
They are. Good job. They are. With that, it's time for us to close the show. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for the SGS and in the afternoon for the SPL. For everyone here at hi-rez Studios, enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow for some North American action.
Peach it.